Jamila, please tell us about yourself first.
So my name is JAMILA SIDDIQUE. I come from Kottayam district in Kerala. I did my schooling in my hometown schools, and I graduated from University of Hyderabad in 2020 with a bachelor's degree in economics. And then I completed my master's in economics from Center for Economic Studies and Planning in Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. I completed my PG in 2022, and that same year I joined for PhD program in the same center in CSP JNU. And currently I specialize in behavioral economics, and I'm in my second year of PhD in the pre-synopsis stage.
Okay, so you are in pre-synopsis stage.
Yes.
So what is exactly the title of the thesis? Or it has not been finalized, I know, but
Yes, sir.
But you must be having an idea.
Yes, sir. So my doctoral research titled as The Economics of Happiness, a comprehensive analysis on institutions, behavior and development.
Please repeat your title.
The Economics of Happiness, a comprehensive analysis on behavior, institutions and development.
Okay, then itself the title as suggests the happiness, economics of happiness,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So first of all, how do you define happiness itself? Is it only economic, or it has other social connotation as well, or a cultural connotation as well?
Definitely yes, sir. Happiness has a very multiple connotations starting from the very individual, because some of the genetic factors also influence the happiness hormones like serotonin and dopamine, as well as there is cultural influences of happiness, because happiness is deemed as a Western concept. Particularly the people who come from Western countries, they overvalue the notion of happiness, whereas people who come from Asian countries, they try to undervalue happiness because of certain mythical as well as certain mythical values. So yes, it has a social, political and individual connotation.
So your focus is economic aspect of happiness.
So economics plus behavioral aspects.
Plus behavioral aspects.
Yes.
So how do you accommodate behavioral aspects in happiness?
So the data set which I am planning to use is World Values Survey. So they have analyzed questions related to the perceptions, the social trust, social networking, and also they have calculated the subjective aspects of happiness. Like they have used an ordinal index where the candidates themselves can rank their happiness.
It's similar to the ranking of the choices.
Yes, sir.
So it becomes an ordinal.
Yes, sir.
Ordinances. So if I ask you, how happy are you?
So happiness is a very momentary phenomenon as well, whereas life satisfaction is quite permanent in nature. So do you want me to rank it on a scale of 1 to 10?
No, I'm simply saying, are you happy?
Yes, sir, I'm happy, thankfully.
Good. Okay. Let's start. So, after listening to your introduction, really your data is very impressive. Data is impressive.
Thank you, sir.
And coming from the township of Kottayam and traveling to Delhi, what culturally actually two differences you find when you travel from a town like the Kottayam to Delhi, New Delhi?
Okay. So the first difference would be the composition of population. Delhi is a cosmopolitan city and it has people from all over the country. Whereas in Kottayam, it's predominantly population from Kerala. It's not even a complete Keralite population. It's just particularly people from Kottayam only. The second aspect would be the celebration of festivals in both the district. Kottayam could be limited to just Christmas, Onam and Easter or the Eid. Whereas Delhi has abundance of festivals, because I think the entire India is over here. So it gives a glimpse and reflection of the way festivals are celebrated. The next aspect could be the food. The food patterns are quite different in both the states. And Delhi has predominantly a North Indian cuisine, and Kerala would be a South Indian cuisine with more variety of localized agricultural products being used in our day-to-day life in food. And the next aspect would be the dressing pattern, because the weather is quite strong in Delhi, whereas it's moderate in Kottayam. So here there is a winter shopping, there is a summer shopping, which is also very cultural aspect of to differentiate between Kerala, Kottayam and Delhi.
Okay, so how do you see your journey from Kottayam to Delhi?
So as a student of economics, I had this notion that Delhi would give me a very good exposure to economics compared to my hometown. And I've joined in a college in my hometown, but I was there for 2 weeks, and then I got into Hyderabad Central University and I've joined there. But still I believe that, I don't know, it must be some perceptions and it might be peer effect also. I believe that Delhi is the place for economics, which has motivated me to come to Delhi and join JNU.
So it's only perception, or it's exactly after coming to what did you realize?
It's a reality, sir. The quality of economics education is quite different between Kottayam and Delhi, particularly because of the influence of a lot of central institutions, the Delhi University, Jamia Millia, Jawaharlal Nehru University, state universities like Ambedkar University. I think Delhi has a very specialized pool of technicians and economists trained in different disciplines, which is absent in my hometown.
Okay. So now one tricky question is that actually there are a physical capital and human capital, right?
Yes, sir.
First of all, how do you define capital formation? Let us start from here.
Capital formation. So physical capital or?
No, since I actually confused you after asking him capital. So it's the capital, suppose. What is capital formation?
So capital is a stock. It's a measurement of stock, and capital formation would be...
Can I interfere for a while? Unless and until it is specified that the question refers to human capital formation,
okay,
you have to presume it to be a physical capital.
Okay, sir.
For your
sure, sir. Thank you.
please.
So capital formation would mean addition to the physical infrastructure, the investments on infrastructure, which would help in the further productive capacity of the economy. For example, adding on to the road, the buildings, the machinery, this would all come up to capital, can be categorized as physical capital.
And what is investment?
So investment is a flow. So it actually measures the rate of change in which capital is being formed in the economy. So it's a dynamic concept, and capital is more a static concept.
Okay, and what about the human capital?
Human capital is a set of potential that human beings possess in terms of the skill sets, education, which would help them for productivity and value addition. So it would help further contribute for research and development and intellectual property, addition to the existing set of knowledge, as well as physical capital, because ultimately physical capital is also an output of labor, to which factors in the human capital.
Good. Now in recent times, Jamila, we have seen that the FDI flow in India lost its momentum.
Yes, sir.
Actually, what could be the reasons and why we have lost the opportunity? Because even you will see the China plus policy, and or you can say the rates in the US rising at that time also, and we were expecting that the huge FDI inflow will be there. But rather than India, we find a capital flow to the South Asian countries like Taiwan or Indonesia or those countries.
Okay.
So how do you see this phenomena?
So the first reason would be there is a global decline in FDI, as mentioned in various international reports and also the economic survey. The FDI decline is a global phenomenon which could be due to the global geopolitical tensions, particularly the West Asian tensions, as well as the war between Russia and Ukraine. The second aspect would be the differential interest rates between US and India, which is resulting in the FDI, which is attracting more capital and investments to the USA. The third aspect would be that, which I have recently read, is about the outbound FDI. Like our own Indian investors are now more interested in investing in other countries. So recently Infosys has made investments in Germany, Japan, and also Aditya Birla Group. So the domestic investors themselves are doing an outbound FDI inflow. The fourth aspect could be that compared to India, the South Asian nation, the other South Asian nations, even they have also displayed a decline in FDI in the last few years. But compared to India, they could have a better manufacturing potential with respect to cheap labor and efficiency of supply chains, which could be the reason why FDI has declined in the last few years.
So what could be the few measures would you suggest to attract FDI in India? So
the first one would be to bring efficiency in our supply chains. The second aspect aspect would be to improve on our infrastructure. The third aspect will be enhance the ease of doing business measures by giving them more regulatory easiness and assurance on their profits. The fourth one would be to build on our institutional quality like governance and these aspects, which would also instill confidence on the foreign investors.
Okay. So currently the COP29 summit is going on.
Yes, sir.
So can you tell us some agenda, what are the agenda that are being discussed in the COP29?
So it's still going on.
But
So
now is it-
currently, yes, sir. So the one of the major agenda is regarding climate finance, to pool the funds from the developed nations to developing countries. There was a target of $100 billion fund to finance the green projects and climate facilitating projects in developing countries. So this is the main agenda. And apart from this would be carbon markets, like the various ways and means by which carbon markets can be formalized and facilitated in different countries. So this is what I could think of at this point.
Good. Sir?
Jamila,
Yes, sir.
the first natural question arises in my mind that why are you interested to join Indian Economic Service Officers? 3-4 important points, actually, honestly.
Honestly. So the first point is that I'm genuinely interested in the field of economics, and I've realized it at a very young age. I've taken economics and mathematics combination in my +1 and +2 because of my genuine passion to economics. The second aspect is that I am always interested in policy making aspect. I have joined PhD, and there is an assumption that when you join PhD you naturally go to academia, but I was very clear from right from my beginning that I wanted to do a job as a policy maker, and I'm more interested in research and policy making. The third aspect would be a very individual and personalized aspect, would be about the job stability and also the financial stability this job would provide me. And the fourth aspect will be the exposure as an Indian Economic Service Officer gets to the different, because they can work around 72 different ministries. So the kind of exposure you get in handling various projects, etc., by being an IES officer is also interesting, and the government would also take inputs from IES officers in their different stages of policy making. So these are some of the reasons, sir.
Point number 2, 3, 4, they are the most appropriate answer.
Okay, sir.
Try to avoid the first answer, that I have
Yes.
passion for the economics and
Okay.
all that.
And the second point is
Second,
like
third,
policy
fourth are
making.
very
Okay.
appropriate,
Okay.
very right answer.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
So is it fine to say about financial stability and job stability?
Yeah, it's always there. This is the honest answer.
Okay, sir.
Everybody wants to, those who are sitting at the interview board as member, they would also have liked to get the financial stability and security in their life.
Okay, sir.
Nobody can deny it.
Okay, sir.
That's fine.
Thank you, sir.
Acha, what do you know about Indian Economic Services?
So the Indian Economic Service is an interministerial and interdepartmental service, and they work in different provisions, and the starting would be as a junior time scale, and there are 7 different scales, and the time you retire it would be an apex scale, and there are various, you directly...
What are the ministries and departments where they are supposed to be posted?
So there are different ministries like Ministry of Finance and also Social Sector Development, Agriculture, Industries, Trade, Commerce, Foreign Trade, and further they also go on deputation to different state governments as advisor positions, and also to different international bodies like WTO.
Who is the ultimate boss of this department, Indian Economic Service?
The Chief
Ultimate.
Economic Advice, the Minister,
No, I am talking in terms of bureaucracy, bureaucrat.
the Chief Economic Advisor of India.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir, because the nodal agency is Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry
Yes,
of
you are right.
Finance.
You are
Okay,
right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Next one, your mother is the working as commercial taxes officer.
Yes, sir.
You must be aware about the canons of taxation.
Yes, sir.
What are the canons of taxation?
So canons of taxation include canon of equity, canon of simplicity, and equity, simplicity. There is one also canon which says that
Can
the
you
cost
elaborate
of-
something on simplicity?
So the tax procedures should be made so simpler in order to avoid tax evasion, etc. And also the other aspect is that the cost of collecting tax should be less than the tax revenue. This is one another canon, and the canons
Tax
also
evasion plus it should be friendly to the taxpayers also.
taxpayers. Yes, sir.
So what the steps have been taken by the government of India recently? Recently means last 4 or 5 years, to simplify the tax collection and implementation procedure, tax filing, etc., return filing, etc.
Okay. So in the direct tax regime or in
Direct tax.
the direct tax regime. So can I just take a second to think about it? So in the recent budgets have actually revised the tax slabs and also the tax rates. This have reduced the complexity in calculating the taxes. Further, the online filing has been given in advance. The dates have been mentioned in advance, and there are also various reminders from the side of the government to do it. And the third aspect would be digitization of the tax regime, which has reduced the loopholes and also simplified the procedures from the side of taxpayers to file the tax returns, etc. And also the standard deduction has been increased in the recent budget from 50,000 to 75,000, which is meant as a support to the tax, to the income, to the salaried class of the society.
What is GST?
Goods and services tax. GST is a comprehensive tax which has subsumed all the indirect taxes. It's a consumption based tax, and it has all the hitherto existing indirect tax regime had been modified, and they have made under a single framework called goods and services tax.
How can it be said to be an improvement over the earlier regime from the perspective of the revenue generation and the taxpayers?
Okay. From the side of the revenue generation, the cascading effects of taxes are removed with GST. The second aspect is that it has improved the logistics facility and reduced the logistics and transportation cost, because earlier there were check post duties and check post related taxes which has further coming, and which would again increase the go down cost in the check post areas, which is not there in GST. The third aspect would be the use of digitization and technology, like the GSTI network is a very significant aspect of the GST. And the next aspect is the state GST and central GST, the division of that, which has again tried to there is a clear assessment of how much revenue can be generated from each state and how much revenue will go to each state.
What are the issues associated with the GST as has been observed in the last couple of years?
So the first one would be resistance from the different states, because they have lost the autonomy to decide on the tax rate. The second aspect is that different tax slabs have been mentioned. So this has made some goods more inflationary and expensive than it was before. The third aspect is that in the initial run, there were errors related to the network and there were problems related to GST filing. And fourth one is that even like any policy also, in the implementation stage only, they have the policy implementation team has understood that there are various errors, for example related to the composition scheme, related to the e-filing. So they have tried to acknowledge and correct it in that. And the most important challenge was the revenue loss in the initial years, for which the central government had to give GST compensation cess to the state governments to compensate it. So it took some time to get the system back on track, because it was during a period of economic slowdown, and GST has kind of at that point created some challenges in.
Are you aware of some of the cases where the fake return filing have been observed of the GST?
Sir, I'm not really aware of it. Fake return.
Okay.
Because there is one ID and people used to file from that ID.
Refund claim.
Refund claim.
Related to refund claim.
Sir, I'll read on it.
Okay. These are some of the
Sure, sir, I will read on
minor issues. Can you distinguish between revenue, tax revenue and non-tax revenue?
So tax revenue is a revenue collected from various sources of tax, like the direct taxes, like example income tax, corporate tax, as well as the indirect taxes like GST and customs duties, excise duties, etc. Non-tax revenue tax come mostly from the sources which is mostly related to the service which the government gives. For example, the fine, the license fee, the various fees and fines charged by the government. Like
if
there's a
you are
property
given the
assessment
option,
fees.
between revenue, tax revenue and non-tax revenue to increase the revenue of the government. Which of these two ways would you prefer, advocate, and why?
So there should be a balance between the two types of revenue generation, because we cannot.
That's fine, balance is fine. But if you are asked to increase revenue of the government via any of these two measures for the time being,
So probably the tax revenue only, but not by increasing the tax rate, maybe by incorporating measures to formalize the economy and expanding the tax base and reducing the tax evasion. Because non-tax revenue can be there only if the people take some service from the government, and there is a limitation to increase the charge of that service beyond a certain limit. For example, like the document, the will related to that, the fees.
okay, my
related to
last
that.
question. Are you aware of the Ramsey rule? Ramsey rule?
Ramsey rule, sir, I'm not
related
able.
to optimal commodity taxation.
Okay, sir, I have read it, but I'm not able to
कोई बात
recollect
नहीं,
it.
no problem, no problem. So fine, overall, last time also you fared well, but this time also you fared much better than the
We
earlier
can
one.
say that interview was excellent.
Okay, thank you,
And if
sir.
you repeat this performance in the
Really?
final interview,
Okay, sir.
And you need not worry even if you don't answer or you are unable to answer.
One or two questions.
One or two, three questions, don't worry. 20-30% question if you don't answer, don't worry at all.
Okay, sir.
Your body language, your facial expression, your level of confidence is all very good.
all balanced, and we are happy that to see improvements in you.
Thank you, sir.
So in whatever manner you are preparing your interview,
Just continue.
just
Okay, sir.
keep it up.
Sir, prepared like the way you have mentioned
Yes,
last
yes.
time.
So just continue working on
Sure,
that, and
sir.
don't be complacent. Just work hard.
Okay.
Everything is fine. Nothing.
And just keep on revising in a lighter
Revising
mode, though the things, the important
Theoretical.
contents of the economics 1, 2, 3 and Indian economy
Okay.
portion.
Okay,
That's
sir.
it.
I'll do that, sir.
Some of the questions may emerge from public finance, taxation, etc. Direct and indirect, because your mother is posted
Working in
as.
GST department.
So you have to very much.
Sure,
be,
sir. I had put in
considerate.
revise that theoretical
Yes.
part. I will
yes,
do that, sir.
Yes. Okay. Rest of the things are very fine. Excellent.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. You want to ask anything?
No,
We are happy to see your progress.
Okay, sir. Thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All the best. Thank you.